Hi everyone, my name is Ilana and I'm a past bat Shavuot at Livnot. And I am standing right here at the western wall at the Kotel. It's a little windy, but I decided that I will try anyways to tell you a little bit about the upcoming holiday of Shavuot from this special place. I wanted to tell you a little bit about Shavuot, which is a holiday that is happening on Friday. Now, Shavuot is celebrating a few different things. So just to quickly go through it, we're celebrating 3,329 years ago we received the 10 Commandments at Mount Sinai. That's number one, what we're celebrating, receiving the Torah, becoming a nation. Number two is we're celebrating the end of Sfirat HaOmer. We've spoken about this in a few of the classes and Zoom sessions that we've had about how these past 7 weeks we've been on this journey of refining ourselves and becoming better people. And so these 7 weeks are almost up, and so we're celebrating the end of this counting of the Omer. And one more thing that we're celebrating is the harvest. This is harvest season. The last few weeks, the barley has been ripe enough to harvest the wheat, and Shavuot has been for generations the holiday in which Jewish people would come up to Jerusalem, to where I'm standing right now, to Temple Mount, which is right up there, and bringing their first fruits and eating them here and celebrating the end of the harvest. So that is also something that we're celebrating. A few interesting facts about this day. First of all, it's King David's birthday and his death date. So King David died and was born on the same day. And so on this day, a lot of people read the book of Ruth. Ruth was King David's grandmother. I'm actually overlooking the city of David right now. This whole area behind me was where King David ruled 3,060 years ago. And his palace is right down there. And so that is an interesting fact. And there's lots of customs on this day. Some people stay up all night learning Torah. Some people eat dairy foods because milk is like a baby grows from drinking its mother's milk. Also, that is how the Torah is to the Jewish people. It gives us nourishment to become better people. And so also, so milk is likened to the Torah, and so that is a reason why people eat all kinds of dairy products and cheesecake. So those are a few of the things that people do on Shavuot. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about Ruth. Since I'm standing here right in front of the city of David, I thought it was appropriate. So Ruth, the book of Ruth is not long. So whoever wants to go more in depth, go ahead. It's a pretty interesting book, but I'll try to summarize it very quickly. Ruth, there's a woman named Naomi. Naomi and her family live in Bethlehem here in Israel, and there's a hunger. There's a drought. There's not enough food, and they decide to leave Israel and go to Moab. And so they leave. Naomi, her husband, her two sons. In Moab, her sons marry two Moab princesses. And soon after this, her husband dies, her two sons die, and Naomi is left with her two daughters-in-law, Ruth and Orpah. And Naomi says to them, you know what? I'm a widow. I just lost my two sons. I'm going to go back home, back to Bethlehem. You should go back to your father's palace. And they say, and Orpah said okay, and she left. She went back to the palace. And Ruth said, no, your people are my people. Your God is my God. Wherever you go, I will go. And Ruth basically is the first convert. She goes with Naomi back to Bethlehem, and they were very poor. They don't have anything. Naomi used to be a very rich woman, and suddenly she has nothing. And so Ruth decides to go to a field and collect wheat that was left by the people who were harvesting. So the field owner, his name is Boaz. He's a very righteous, wealthy guy, and he notices how modest and righteous Ruth is. And so, to make a long story short, they got married. Ruth gave birth to King David's grandfather. Ruth becomes the great-grandma of King David, and basically starts the whole line of Jewish kings. So this is a very interesting story. And I think one thing that we can notice is how many changes went through. From the palace, Ruth becomes this poor woman. She converts. She's from Moab to being Jewish. Moab were the people who refused to give the Israelites food and water on their way out of Egypt towards Israel. They were in the desert. They asked for water and food. They refused. And so from those people, she becomes the grandmother of the line of Jewish kings. And one thing that I read today by Sivan Rav Meir, she gives over talks and speeches. She's very righteous. She learned a lot of Torah, and so she gives over this talk every week. And she was saying that Ruth, what we can learn from her the most is about chesed, about acts of loving kindness. Ruth did everything so selflessly. She was all there for Naomi, for her people, and she was completely ignoring her self needs. Now, Ruth is this example of complete chesed, and Sivan Rav Meir was saying in our talk that we're not like that. We're not supposed to just ignore ourselves completely. We're not supposed to just completely be for other people. We're also supposed to be there for ourselves. But one thing that is a trait of being there completely for other people, that trait is what we need in leaders. The trait of completely being there for other people, that is the trait of a leader. And so Ruth, who came from these people who wouldn't even give their food to people who were starving, became the person who was the complete opposite of that, and managed to be complete chesed and complete loving kindness. And that is why she became the grandmother of the leaders of the people of Israel. And so that is just an interesting thing that I was thinking of today, and that I read today. Also, the reason that we read the book of Ruth on Shavuot is, first of all, because it's King David's birthday and Yartzai, and we want to know where he came from. Second of all, Ruth was a convert. Jewish people at Mount Sinai are also kind of converts. Ruth completely said, "My people, your people are my people. Your God is my God," and that's what we said at Mount Sinai. We decided we are one people. We are going to be surrounded by this one Torah. Also, we're talking about the book of Ruth, which is happening at the time of the harvest, which is what Shavuot is celebrating. Shavuot is celebrating the end of the harvest. So this book really brings all these different aspects of Shavuot together. So yeah, I hope we can all learn how to be kind, how to be full of chesed, be full of acts of loving kindness to every human being. Chag Sameach.